let's turn to China and the unprecedented havoc being wrought by COVID right now. China's massive population of 1.4 billion people almost simultaneously exposed to the virus. Following the regime's draconian zero-COVID policy of lockdowns and isolation, much of the population hasn't had the time to develop natural immunity. Now, hundreds of millions are infected within weeks, a rate not seen elsewhere. And above everything, the haze of uncertainty. What is the death toll? Are there new variants? Has the virus mutated? The Chinese regime's lack of transparency and history of underreporting adding to the questions. Officially, the regime reporting COVID deaths in the single digits. That's in contrast with on-the-ground reports, funeral homes working overtime, and hospitals overwhelmed. And with the lack of transparency, what should or can other countries do? Joining us to discuss China and its COVID outbreak is Dr. Yin Meng, a Chinese virologist who fled to the United States in 2020. Dr. Yin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
We're seeing right now a phenomenon that we haven't seen since the beginning of COVID back in Wuhan, and that's the white lung phenomenon that's showing up on CT scan. So what is it and what's behind this?
So the thing is, what happened in China is an outbreak even worse than what happened in Wuhan. Until now, within 3 to 4 weeks from early December, there are majority of Chinese people are infected. And also, I can tell you, this is not because their lack of natural immunity, because China government didn't protect people during COVID, zero COVID period. It's just more about digital control. However, the symptoms now is even worse than what happened in Wuhan, and the white lung come out again. The government insists that it's Omicron variant, which is mild, but government still refused to give the viral sequence examination to patients. So we really don't know what is happening in China. We just know death toll is increased like crazy.
Speaking of that, international health experts are predicting there will be at least 1 million deaths in China this year, while the Chinese regime has officially reported 3 new COVID deaths on Monday. So what do you make of these very different numbers?
Yeah, of course, China is still hiding the facts and even the basic fact. That is, the government always cheat people. But why does he cheat? Because the government need to cheat you to achieve their own purpose. This time still, they don't tell you the death tolls. However, based on our first-hand information, that in almost every city in China, the funeral place is overloaded, and the government doesn't allow people to fill the death cause as COVID-19, but the death toll increase in some area even over 10 times every day. That can clearly tell you the death toll would be even out of 1 million within several months.
And doctor, starting this Sunday, China is officially allowing its citizens to travel abroad. Should this concern the rest of the world?
Of course, that's why I keep telling people that first, you don't know what is happening in China. Even if the very mild variant circulating among population and cause such severe disease, then it should get new variant which would be more virulent, right? So with this possibility, when China refused to do the test and also share the information, why does the other government allow them to send people here? Because once it happened, you would have the possibility to face an even larger pandemic than what happened in 2020. China cheated you already, and why do you allow it to cheat you again?
And on that note, what can other countries do then to help mitigate more waves of COVID?
So first, doing the PCR examination for the travelers from China, especially for the people who come from mainland China. And also you have to establish some quarantine policy during that period, because we know virus incubation period can be 3 to 14 days or even longer. And also you have to prepare the medical support, including medicines like the hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, all like this, and also oxygen facilities and other support to do the backup if the outbreak come to your country. And if not, there would be another tragedy happen here, and also that would crush the society immediately.
And doctor, with the Chinese regime's lack of transparency, history of underreporting, what's their end game here? What are they trying to do?
We really don't know exactly what they are going to do, because this is a government full of secrets and it's an anti-human government. However, what we know is for sure this COVID-19 virus was studied in the military civilian fusion labs for years, and it was weaponized. And so that's why when it happened in 2020, although it got out of control in China, but still Chinese Communist government let it intentionally spread all over the world and make the pandemic. So we should know Xi Jinping already celebrated the trophy during the pandemic, and he awarded the PLA scientists, and also they are developing more and more biomedical industries. Even now, they announced, China CDC claimed that they predict that there will be super immune escape new variant come out soon, and they also tell you they already are working on the new drugs, mono antibody or others, to compete the new immune escape variant. So this is very scary, and Xi Jinping is so aggressive now, both inside China and to overseas. So we really need to consider it based on geopolitical situation and more factors.
And doctor, lastly, how do we make sure to differentiate between the Chinese regime and the Chinese people?
We Chinese people are not the one like this kind of anti-human policies. How to distinguish this is a good question, because Chinese people were born in China, were cultivated from young time with brainwash, this kind of propaganda. So it's not easy for majority of Chinese people to realize the evilness of CCP. However, you can see what people's working on. If the person not help Chinese Communist Party, not work in the organization, not behave as their overseas that kind of unite front member, or their people, the agents or agents like influencer, then we can say that this person is probably the good Chinese people, and once they know the evilness, they would change their mind. But the people who already work inside and now still refuse to change their attitude, still working with Xi Jinping and chase the world, enjoy it, then that's a very loyal CCP member, and we should put them to the trial.
Dr. Yan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.